Hello, and welcome back to another EPC Teardown Guide. Today, we're taking a look at something a little bit different. An old Origin PC, the E0N17, an absolute massive unit that is also extremely complex to take apart. This thing, while only boasting a 7th gen i7 processor, has SLI 980s in it. So today, let's take it apart and show you how while we do it. Now let's get into it. So let's take a look at it. The backside has 9 Phillips screws conveniently in these large, deep holes. None of them captured, so hope they come out. They'll probably won't. Nope. I'll have to try not to lose them when I open up the case. This is just, I don't know, their information bar. I tried to look underneath of it, but it's actually glued down, so the screws really just feel decorative. Interesting design choice. To get the back cover off, what I do is, there's a little lip right here under the speaker grill, so I'll grab that and push down here, and that will allow it to come up. Well, none of the screws came out, so we're just going to leave them in that back cover. Alright, so now that we have it open, you can see a handful of things here. Besides the speaker, we've got, it's a relatively small battery for this model. Underneath of this is the modular CPU, the i7-7700K. Pretty unusual to see a modular CPU inside of a portable chassis. We've got the RAM here, 2 16 gig sticks, but there's actually more underneath the keyboard, as we'll see later. And here are the twin NVIDIA 980s, configured in SLI. You know, that short-lived format. We'll see more of that once we get these heat pipes off. We'll start though with the battery. This model makes constant use of these extremely long Phillips screws. So there's the battery. Connector definitely isn't unique. I'm sure I've seen that in plenty of other Dell models, but if there's a name for that specific connector, I couldn't say what it is. Form factor is certainly unique. I guess we can start with the small stuff and get the speaker out of here. It's actually free floating on these rubber grommets, held in place by these 4 large screws. Usually in these kind of models, I would expect the speaker to be held in place a little bit more, not free floating, but I suppose the rubber grommets are thick enough that it prevents it from rattling around. Just held in place right here, using the same connector that I'm pretty sure you'll see in CMOS batteries a lot. So I guess now we can get into meat and potatoes and get these GPU heat sinks off. There's a heatsink on both, which are almost identical, although you can tell this one on the right has a filleted bit that goes over the screws of the CPU holder. I'm pretty sure it's just held in place by these 4 screws that are conveniently labeled because of this little warning label right here. Any parts that are held on by pressure like this, you always want to take off in a cross pattern. That's why it's numbered as such. And then I bet, yep, you can just pull directly from this little label. Obviously, you want to make sure that you pull from this part that has the most mass, and don't put any stress on these heat pipes because they bend very easy. And same with this one next to it. Now we have a much closer look at these SLI 980s. You'll actually see as we get this cable off, it's labeled master and slave. Not terminology we use too much anymore. We'll go ahead and get those off now though. It just pulls right away. We can get the GPUs out proper. We just held them by the 2 screws. There's that. You see the slave on that side, master on that side. To get these out, you have to pick them up and then pull out. They're held in rather tightly, which I guess is good. Good connection. We can then go ahead and get these fans off. You have to take those off first because there's little coverings. These 3 fans are all different. This one is held in by 2 screws. This one is held in by 2 screws. This one by 3 screws. No idea why they designed it that way. Just gotta deal with it. These screws are slightly smaller, but they're still rather long Phillips. Make sure you keep those separated. And then we have this last one over here, again held in by 2 screws. Careful not to drop those screws. There it is. Now that that fan is out, we can get this CPU heatsink and then the modular CPU out. Again, it's numbered. Oh, my mistake, it's not the i7-77K, it's the i7-6700K. So it's a 6th gen unit, even older. And to get that out, just like any normal CPU, just pull that back and lift it away. So this screw right here next to the RAM is labeled K and B keyboard. Take that out. Should allow us to flip this over. And now we can get the keyboard out. That screw is technically the only thing hard holding this keyboard in, if I remember correctly. So now I should just have to put a pry bar back until it's underneath the keyboard. There we go. And pull up. Once the back side's up, we can pull forward to get these tabs out. And we can flip it over. You can see it's actually held on by a collection of magnets too. So let's get these handful of ribbon cables out. So one on the left is very easy. These middle ones are a little bit more tricky. So this first one, the top one, goes in to the top of this connector. These you can just push out both sides, gentle, and you can pull the cable away. The second one goes under the connector. Really threw me for a loop the first time. Don't know why they did two separate styles of what is effectively the same connection. But once you figure it out, it's not too difficult. It's harder to actually get it back together. And the keyboard just comes away. You can see on the back side here we have yet more slots for RAM, and conveniently 2 slots for M.2s, which if we flip it over and go to the back side again, we can now see that if we remove this, which is effectively a, I know if this is plastic cover held on by a single screw and a little bit of adhesive, that there are 2 Samsung drives. The way to get those out is the screw holding them into their bracket. And I found when taking these out, you lift up, but there's sometimes a little plastic cover on the drive which wants to get stuck. So once you lift it up, you can pull it out. I'll show you. There's this. This is, I guess, acts as a carrier for the spacer, but if this falls down, it tends to get stuck on a little screw right there. So a little scraper like this, just holding it up, keeps it right over that screw. Now from here, it gets even more complicated. Up to this point, it's been fairly straightforward. The next step is actually going to be removing the palm rest we have right here. This whole part will come up. Now to do that is a little bit easier said than done. I'm going to swap back over to a smaller bit, so I don't think I need to get any more deep recesses, but I might. So we have one, which I believe to be one of the long style screws underneath. And a second one over here. Looks like these are labeled as M2.5 by 8. And I believe that is all on this side, but since we're under here, we'll remove the connectors, so we shouldn't have to come back. Although we will have to come back to take this off anyway. But we'll do it now anyway. We've got a speaker cable over here, a wing connector, so pull it away using your nails, using a small flathead screwdriver, anything you can. Just make sure you grab the plastic head and not the cables, because you don't want to rip those cables out. We've got a ribbon cable here, up and away as always. Another ribbon cable under here. Second verse, same as the first. And remember to put down the connector once you pull the cable out, so nothing goes back into it and you don't risk damaging the flimsy connector head. So now we'll close it up, flip it back over. I did not remove the Wi-Fi connection, and you'll see why in a bit if I manage to get this off. There's a handful of screws holding it on. I believe actually this is one of them. I know I have to take off this part at some point anyway. So it's this, you'll see, metal cover that covers up these few ports in the back, held on by 3 of these screws. These screws, while as wide as the largest screw, are slightly shorter. So you should keep these ones separate from your other very long screws. This model has a lot of unique screws to it. And this part pulls away. I don't know if that was critical to taking the palm rest out, but we'll see. And for here we have a handful of screws all around the case to take out. For instance, I'm pretty sure this is one of them. I believe that was every screw. We can flip it around and see if I'm correct. Certainly can't forget this. Always forget the SD card slots. I should now, if I did everything right, be able to pull this away. Definitely think I'm stuck somewhere in the top still. Ah, one screw right there will do it. Alright, well with that last screw done, I should be able to, let me just double check, see if I forgot anything else. May have. Perhaps it's this one silver screw right here. Yep. And looks like I forgot a couple of ribbon cables because they weren't under the keyboard. They're these ones right here. Wasn't supposed to come out, but oh well. There we go. We have this entire palm rest assembly out. So now you can see all of that done, and there's still so much still connected to this. Let's look at the board itself. We've got the display held on by these connectors. We'll get that off. They're running under the Wi-Fi chip, but looks like they just popped off on their own. We'll get this out of here. The screen weighs more than the boarding case itself now, so I have to hold it down. We have a couple of wind connectors over here. Not entirely sure what they control. They go to the lid, so they have to come out. And let's try and unscrew it. Looks like that is the slightly shorter long screw. Well, at least it isn't a brand new screw. This one on the right is only held in by a single screw. Really? Yeah, it seems to be true. You held in by one screw, but it's still more stable than many laptops I've seen that are held on by a lot more. I guess when you get this large, weight becomes its own stability factor. Let's get these other speaker grills out of here. I had to actually swap to a manual screwdriver because my screwdriver died right in the last steps. Unfortunate. The board's more and more becoming unrecognizable. So let's see, we've got a screw over here holding it in. Another one right here at the corner. Oh, and is that it? Just up and away, just like that. Oh, and that was how you took apart the Origin E0N17, and I hope I never have to take one of these apart again. That was a real adventure, probably one of the more complicated disassemblies we've done. But now you know how to.
Don't feel like doing a teardown yourself? Have not just one, but hundreds of devices taking up space? EPC is a global leader in the ITAD field, and it's our goal to reduce e-waste and give devices a second chance. Reach out to us today to learn more.